The VA addendum to Florida real estate purchase contracts can protect buyers, but also create some complications you have to be aware of as a VA buyer. Let's get into it. Welcome back. I'm Charlie Cameron, Air Force veteran and leader of the Military Home Team, the top-rated military-first real estate team serving the Florida Panhandle and the bases around it. If you are looking for awesome content about VA-related buying, selling, or real estate in the Florida Panhandle, you've come to the right place. If you want to learn about the top places to live in the area, top things to do, all sorts of ins and outs of the bases and military activities, as well as just general living on the Florida Panhandle, be sure to follow and subscribe to our channel. We're going to have lots of great content for you. And if you get some value out of this video, please like. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk a little bit about the VA buyer addendum in the state of Florida. I'll tell you how to learn more about the VA buyer total process in a second. And then let's talk about what makes the VA loan and process unique in general, the 4 important elements of the VA addendum, what happens if the VA requires repairs, and what happens if the home appraises low, and then the biggest issues our team sees with VA addendums and how we mitigate those along the way. We're the Military Home Team. Once again, I'm Charlie Cameron. I'm the leader here. We offer military-first real estate services as military veterans and spouses. We've been there, we've done it, and this is what we do. We help military families achieve their real estate goals all along the Florida Panhandle, serving all the bases. So feel free to get in touch with us any way you see here, or just search Charlie Cameron Military Home Team, and you'll find us on Facebook or Google. Now, this is from a separate video. This is the VA homebuyer process. I don't want to go into detail here because it took me 30 minutes to really explain this in full detail on a separate YouTube video. So go look up Military Home Team VA buyer process video on YouTube, and it will walk you through exactly how this works and everything that happens along the way. Now, what makes the VA loan unique? Well, we got a couple videos, one on misconceptions, one on the top 10 things to know about the VA loan. This is going to go over all the things. Be sure to check that video out. But besides a lower rate, less money down, no private mortgage insurance, and fewer fees for VA loans, you have more protection as a VA buyer in most states and in Florida. So we're going to talk a little bit about all 3 of these: the appraisal inspection, the appraised value, and then additional repair allowance. It's by far the best loan product for a home buyer ever of all time, ever. So part of the VA addendum, this little piece here, it talks about inspections and appraisal. So what this piece is doing is it's basically setting an additional repair amount limit geared towards VA required repairs. So the VA appraiser is going to go in and he may or she may require additional repairs to be done in order to close on this home. So those repairs must be completed for the lender to continue with the loan. If the repairs actually exceed the cost, then we have to find some sort of amicable solution because, again, the repairs have to be done. We've also seen, sometimes we or other agents will use loan stopping repairs in here, which is interesting because there's no technical limit on it. It's just saying, hey, if the VA appraiser has any loan stopping repairs, you, seller, go fix them, right? And then this is independent totally of the contract type, whether it's a standard contract or an as-is contract, which we have a whole video on comparing and contrasting those two, pros and cons. This is outside of that. So if the appraiser requires any repairs, they're going to have to be done regardless of what the rest of the contract says about repairs. Okay, so going into a little bit more detail about the VA required repairs process, this paragraph is just talking about this process of requesting repairs and requiring repairs. So VA repairs, they're not, they happen probably a minority of the time versus a majority. We can usually predict as a team how a VA inspection is going to go because we know what kind of things typically pop up, like handrails on steps, fogged windows, ungrounded outlets, or other safety concerns. We can usually tell by walking through a home how it's going to do on an inspection, including the VA piece of it. The key is all these repairs must be done to close. So we want to put ourselves in a position to make that happen and ensure all parties understand that very, very important piece. Even though it doesn't often or doesn't come up a majority of the time, we want to make sure that when it does, we have a path to fix it and get to closing. You're protected from a low appraisal. So what this paragraph is saying is with VA financing, essentially, you can walk away without penalty and get return of your earnest money deposit, which would go towards your closing, if the home does not appraise for the price. Okay, if it appraises low, you're able to walk. The seller is not required to lower the price to the new appraised value. So there's a little gotcha there, right? Sometimes, and I say this with wholehearted love for the VA, it feels like the VA is trying to underappraise us. You know, that you could argue that that's to protect veterans and military buyers, but should the home appraise low, it's extremely difficult to fight. A couple things happen. One, the appraiser will call Tidewater. We will hear from the lender as your agent, your buyer's agent, and then we will have the opportunity to submit recent comparable properties as reason for and justification for the price. So we'll do that. And then if that doesn't work, we can submit things for a VA higher review if we have a reason. If there was an error in the appraisal or there was some sort of major error, some sort of error we can point to, we can request a higher review. I've been there, I've done it. Normally it doesn't work. So hopefully we like to negotiate to find an amicable solution. Now, what does that typically mean? So you have the option to continue with the contract even if it appraises low. Okay, if we cannot negotiate down to the appraised price, you can accept paying the difference to still buy the home. Now, of course, that's going to add to how much cash you have to bring to close. And some might argue that, well, the home didn't appraise for that much. That's lost money. Kinda. All homes appreciate in the long run. So eventually you will see that return is my personal opinion. And history says so. But totally get why some people may be in that position. Now, it all depends on the market, right? If it's a seller's market, guess what? This could happen, and you may need to be prepared to bring extra cash. If it's a buyer's market, not so much. So again, negotiations depend heavily on the market and the desirability, marketability, sellability of that specific home, right? If it's sitting a long time, they're more than likely willing to drop. If it's been like going like hotcakes, then they may not, right? But I've even seen in a buyer's market, a seller not drop like at all on a very large discrepancy, which still didn't make sense to us because the house on the street sold for $40,000 more, but that's neither here nor there. So it's very common to end up somewhere in between, like split the difference, or, you know, seller brings down most, but buyer brings a few thousand extra to get there. But ultimately it kind of, you have options here, and we don't normally see a low appraisal, but it happens, right? So let's talk about the biggest VA addendum issues we see as military real estate specialists. So first issue, VA appraisal happens weeks into a contract, right? So the appraisal normally happens 3 weeks in or so, 2 to 3 weeks. And so suddenly repairs are required, right? We already had the inspection. We're past the inspection period. And so now repairs are required at the last minute. Everybody freak out, right? There's no need to freak out because we're prepared for this. We know that this can happen. So our team ensures that the appraisal is ordered early and that the contract is long enough so that we have time to make repairs without having to ask for extensions. It's so silly. Sometimes if we can't get a longer contract and then this does happen, then we're like, hey, if you want to sell this house, you have to make these repairs, listing agent, and you have to extend, right? So anyway, it's just better to build it in up front if we can. So we're prepared. We know that this can happen, and so we try and mitigate it this way. Another issue is the listing agent doesn't understand that all VA repairs must be done. We prep agents before going under contract to expect to make all VA repairs to close, right? So we're going to make sure they understand, hey, are we on the same page here? All VA repairs must be done to close. Don't see this that commonly as an issue, but it does still happen. And then the third issue is the home appraises for less than the agreed upon price, right? And so the best option here is to look at recent sales to determine whether the home will appraise up front. However, never guaranteed. I can't guarantee what an appraiser is going to do, whether they're having a good day or bad day, whether they're going to choose comps from a year ago. I've seen it. I don't understand it. But, you know, what we try and do is make sure that there have been recent sales in the ballpark so that we can be pretty confident that it's going to appraise. So if the home appraises low, we will negotiate our best to get the price down. But if all said and done, the two options, if we can't get it all the way down to the price, is we can walk, or we can look at bringing the difference to close. So that's the VA addendum. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us. Lots of ways. Again, you can call us. You can hit up our website, panhandlepcs.com. You can hit up our Panhandle PCS Facebook group. You can hit that QR code. You can check down below, or you can search Charlie Cameron Military Home Team on Google and Facebook, and you will find us. Thanks for watching. If you got some value out of this, I got a favor to ask. Please like, please subscribe. We got a bunch more content to help all sorts of buyers and sellers in the area, especially our military veterans and active duty members. And if you need help whatsoever in buying and selling a home on the Florida Panhandle, please reach out to the Military Home Team. We're here to help. Our info will be below. Cheers.